Welcome to the DS Line. This station is Introduction, the construction of the London Underground.
London, second part of the 19th century. The city is on its limits of capacity. The Industrial Revolution carried with it huge masses of people from other areas going to the city in order to work. Termini stations were in the outskirts and the city center was unconnected. Charles Pearson promoted the idea of building an underground railway in 1845, but it was not until 1860 when it began the construction of the first section under the guidance of John Fowler, an English engineer. In 1863, the first underground railway in the world opened its doors, the Metropolitan Railway, which was the seat for the future Metropolitan line. The construction of the line supposed a chaos for the city. To clear the path from the new lines, many houses were destroyed, and they were usually habited by low-class people. The Underground Railway was a huge success when it opened on January 10, 1863. Before the inaugural date, small groups of people had already enjoyed the right to test the new Underground Railway. The city gained comfort with this new transportation system. The city center was less crowded. The construction of new sections and new lines was very important in the following years. It wouldn't be until the beginnings of the 20th century when the underground lines started to be electrified. In 1908, the name Underground and the first version of the famous roundel, consisting of a red disc with a blue bar, started to be used, establishing the corporate image of the network.
This station is the role of the Underground during wartime. During wartime, the role of the London Underground was extremely important. During the First World War, 16,000 underground employees left their job in order to fight. A lot of propaganda was placed in the network in order to attract people to join the war. Women replaced men in jobs such as train drivers, painters, etc. It was during the First World War when Edward Johnston redesigned the Underground Roundel in order to adapt it to the new typeface created by him. But it was during the Second World War when the Underground played an essential role for Londoners, since stations were used as air raid shelters. Civilians went to the Underground stations to avoid the damages of the Blitz. The Underground used special war trains that delivered provisions to the people sheltering in the stations. Some people died in the shelters because of the bombings, and different stations were completely destroyed. But if there was something with a greater destructive power than the young Germans, that was the River Thames. A German bomb impacting into one of the underground tunnels running under the river would imply the complete flooding of the network in minutes. Floodgates with remote control were installed in stations as a solution to this problem. In the aftermath of the Second World War, Winston Churchill said, "London is like some huge prehistoric animal, capable of enduring terrible injuries, mangled and bleeding from many wounds, and yet preserving its life and movement." And this was true. London survived fires and the revolution, and the Underground helped to preserve that life and movement that Churchill talked about. This station is the development of suburbia and the London Underground. Between the World War I and the World War II, in the 1920s and 30s, there was a great expansion in the city of London towards its outer areas. The suburbs were starting to gain leadership, especially for those people who looked for a more rural lifestyle. The expansion was so fast that some people were afraid of the destruction of the countryside. That's why it was created the Metropolitan Green Belt, a law designed in order to protect nature. This was the time for selling the suburbs to the citizens, and the Underground played an important role in doing this. The Underground lines were extended from London to these areas, connecting the city and the suburbs in less than half an hour. Strong marketing campaigns were carried out in order to attract and convince people of the benefits of living out of the city in safer and calmed areas. Many posters were placed in stations with the intention of attracting underground commuters to leave the dangers of the urban areas and discover the pleasures of living in the suburbs. This station is symbolism in the underground. The underground, as we are seeing, has been present in Londoners' lives for a long time. The fact of being the first underground system in the world, of protecting people during the wars, of being expanded step by step, etc., makes it a symbol to be proud of. Everyone in London would be able to recognize the roundup. Maybe everybody in the United Kingdom is able to do this. But how many things are represented in the underground? What we could say is a lot of places, that's true. But another, and one of the most remarkable things which are represented too, is monarchy. Monarchic names appear in different stations. What's more, we have the Victoria Line, devoted to Queen Victoria, and the curious case of the Jubilee Line. The reigning Queen Elizabeth II started her duties as Queen in 1952. On the year 1979, the last underground line to be inaugurated in London was supposed to be called Fleet Line. But taking into account the Silver Jubilee of Elizabeth II, celebrated in 1977, different places changed their name. The original Fleet Line changed its name to Jubilee Line in honor of Elizabeth II. And as the Queen was celebrating her Silver Jubilee, the color silver was chosen to represent the Jubilee Line. Other places that changed or started to be called by this name were the Jubilee Gardens or the Jubilee Place. This station is terrorism in the underground. Political and religious ideologies, among other reasons, led to the creation of terrorist organizations. Threatening massive transportation systems like the underground started a long time ago. The first time in history that London Underground suffered an attack was in 1885, 22 years after its inauguration. Other attacks occurred later, like the one perpetrated supposedly by the suffragettes in 1913. But the organization which carried out more attacks was the Irish Republic Army. The IRA wanted a unified Ireland. They carried out different attacks in the underground in the years 1939, 1973, 1976, 1991, and 1992. The last terrorist attack perpetrated in the London Underground was the July 7, 2005 London bombings, carried out by Islamic terrorists. 52 people were killed in a series of coordinated explosions, one in a Circle Line train between Liverpool Street and Aldgate, another one in a Circle Line train between Edgware Road and Paddington, and a third one in a Piccadilly Line train between King Cross St Pancras and Russell Square. Finally, there was a fourth explosion in Tavistock Square affecting a bus. These terrorist attacks were immediately associated with those of September 11, 2001 in New York and March 11, 2004 in Madrid. What is clear is that attacking the underground is not just a way of creating terror in the citizens. It is also a way of attacking power and breaking national security. Each bomb in the underground is a direct attack to the history and culture of a city, a group of people, and a nation. This station is today's London Underground. London is a little capital in various fields: arts, music, economics. The London Underground system has evolved a lot on its 147 years of history. It has been evolved by the young Londoners, by the young history shared with the entire nation. It is one of the cultural symbols of the city and one historical axis itself. With its 11 lines and the new transportation system developed later, London is nowadays one of the most advanced and modern cities in the world, a city which shows the present and the past overground, but also underground.